Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Tiger Lacrosse Report. I'm your host, Ben Rosenbaum, and as always, joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Kristen Carr. And Coach, welcome back into the studio.
Thank you.
So this past week, a tough one against a ranked Loyola Greyhound team. Lost 19-8, down one at the half. Just from your standpoint, what are your thoughts on that game following it, now that it's been a few days?
Yeah. You know, our game plan going into the game, I think the team was staying the course and trusting the execution of that, and they did a great job in the first half. I think we kicked ourselves a little bit in the foot, so to speak, going into the third quarter. We would make some plays and then turn the ball over. So our focus has been to really value the possession and understand how to stack the good plays consistently throughout the quarter instead of going a little bit neutralizing them with some good plays and then some not so good plays.
Yeah, you mentioned the turnovers and not having the possession. One thing that didn't help you in that regard was draws. Chase Boyle was really fantastic for Loyola. She had 10 herself, 21-10 in draws in favor of Loyola. She made a lot of different friends that day too. You sent a lot of different people out there to try to neutralize her. What was she doing that on the draw that was giving you guys some trouble?
She's a phenomenal draw specialist. I mean, she's a phenomenal player, but, you know, she was able to get the ball in her stick to either self it or to distribute it to the circle. So, you know, depending on who we put in there to draw against her, had a different strategy accordingly. And, you know, the hope is to make it a 50-50 ball so you can compete for it instead of having it go straight up to the draw taker. Who's 5'10", so it can make it a little challenging when you're not quite as tall. But at the end of the day, you got to compete, you got to fight for it, and we're going to continue to work on that area of our game. Now,
one bright point, though, I think that is getting maybe lost in it is Loyola had 19 turnovers. Towson causes 11 of them. And for my money, I thought Jess Lampison played the best game of her career, at least. 3 caused turnovers early on, but she really did. She was everywhere on the field that day. Just talk about your ability, the team's ability to force the turnovers, cause turnovers, and then also just Jess's game out there. She was really, you know, we talk about Shannon Sullivan a lot, Wojcik, Alexis Aaron, but she kind of gets lost in the mix, and she, I thought, did a great job against Loyola.
Yeah, I think the beauty of our squad is that we're able to, you know, change the different positions depending on what we need from the team. And Jess came in that game as a defensive midi versus a low defender, and she was able to pick on the person coming out of the box and step up and put a lot of pressure. And then Jess is a great defender naturally. She's got awesome 1v1. I think she was able to cause some havoc in the defensive end, and she's a great communicator too. So when she's off ball, she's constantly talking to her teammates. So really excited that she was able to step up, even though she was playing a little bit of a different role during that game.
And then with the 11 caused turnovers for you guys, it's just a matter of you guys now have to capitalize on those. And again, that's what goes back to what you're saying with valuing the possession and going down there and scoring the ball.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you always want to be in the mindset of dictating the pace of play, and I do feel like there are definitely times that we were able to do that, and then we also want to be able to, more so than not, finish the play all over the field. And again, that's part of the piece that we're going to continue to emphasize throughout practices this week. And I think we're doing a great job with what we have and the theme of the week for practice to work on that.
Sorry. It wouldn't be a Tiger Lacrosse report if we didn't talk about Jenna Cardeno. Again, a different outing for her this past week, and certainly not to lay fault at her feet, because certainly there was, you know, it was a team game, right? But she's very young, and that's that's a lot of goals to give up for a freshman goalie. How do you now help her from the mindset, okay, shake that off, move forward, and just kind of help her reset from the mentals part, because that's still such a big part for her to have to develop as a freshman goalie here in Division I lacrosse?
Absolutely. I think that's regardless of position, most people that play sports are going to come across a game where they want it back, right? And it's going to be a little bit harder than not, as far as being able to reset and rebound within the game. And with Jenna in particular, knowing that she's anchoring the team and being able to be a brick wall there more times than not is huge. And having to stand behind some of the shots that Loyola was putting up on us, it's only going to make her better, because she's getting that different exposure of different types of shooters, and she's a learner and she's a competitor, and if you combine those two aspects of a player, they're going to use that to fuel their fire and better themselves and learn how to take it as a win and not so much as a loss.
Well, you guys get another crack at it. That's the beauty of this. You get another game this week, March 8th. It doesn't get any easier, though. Another ranked opponent in Stony Brook, another conference opponent, or your first conference opponent, Stony Brook, 3-1 on the year. Historically, Coach Spallina putting out a very high-powered offensive team with the Seawolves. How similar do you approach them to Loyola at all? Obviously, it's different personnel, but they've got weapons on that team. And how do you approach Stony Brook this week?
Yeah, I mean, they're athletic, they're fast, they're very methodical on the offensive end. They have a high pressure backer zone on the defensive end. So, it's not stuff that we haven't seen before. So we're going to continue to work through that at practice. But it's exciting that we get to have our first conference game and to play a team like Stony Brook and to be able to compete with the best of them is something I'm looking forward to. And I know the team is going to be ready to attack that and embrace the moment along the way. And
you mentioned it's your first conference game. So how does the mood shift a little? I mean, non-conference is non-conference. Of course, everybody wants to win non-conference games, but at the end of the day, doesn't affect you in terms of CAA standings, obviously, and getting into the tournament. How does the mood shift from going from a non-conference game to now, okay, this is a CAA, this is a league game?
Yeah. Every game is a part of the journey, and it's important from my standpoint that we learn and grow from every game, and I think we learned a lot throughout the year so far, and we're going to take those aspects and bring it to our conference play. And like you said, it's going to be heightened because it's conference, but the way we respect our opponent despite conference, non-conference is not going to change, because we want to respect all the teams that we play. And the best way to respect them is to put on a good showing and get that W at the end of the day.
All right. The Tigers will go up to Long Island this weekend, March 8th at 3 o'clock to take on their first CAA opponent of the year, the Stony Brook Seawolves. For the head coach of the Tigers, Kristen Carr, I'm Ben Rosenbaum. Thanks for joining us, and as always, go Tigers.